What do you mean he murdered him? That's a terrible use of a prostitute. Why Jack the Ripper? You know, he did an awful lot of slashing. Why not Jack the Slasher? Look, I'm just saying, if I was a criminal who wore a leather apron all the time, I'd come up with a better nickname than Leather Apron, you know? Welcome to A Brief History of the Past. I'm Kaelan Burrows, and this is part 2 of the history of Jack the Ripper. Last time, we covered the murders of Mary Nichols and Annie Chapman. This week, we're starting on September 30th, 1888, with the murder of Elizabeth Stride. Now, many believe that on this night, Jack the Ripper was almost caught. But, after going over the facts, I'm not so sure. Now, a number of witnesses saw Elizabeth Stride alive in the hours leading up to her death, but the most important was Israel Schwartz.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Schwartz saw a man accost a woman on Berner Street around 12:45 a.m. He assumed it was a domestic dispute and crossed the road so as to not get involved. How heroic. What's that? Someone's being attacked? Is a husband beating his wife? This looks like a job for someone else. Schwartz fled the scene when another man began following him. Police later dismissed this other individual as having no involvement, though some speculate that this other person might have been an accomplice to Jack the Ripper.
There's 2 of them.
Elizabeth's body was discovered at 1 a.m. by Louis Deemschutz, a steward who was returning his cart to Dutfield's yard. Now, upon entering, his pony refused to go any further because, I mean, let's face it, he knew what was going on. Upon discovering Elizabeth's body, Deemschutz ran to get help. Police believed that he interrupted the murder, which is why she only had her throat slashed. So, good for her, I guess. More police arrived on the scene, and an extensive search was done in and around the surrounding cottages. Unfortunately, the horrors of the night were not yet over. Was there a Coldplay concert going on? The body of Catherine Eddowes was discovered at 1:44 a.m. in Mitre Square. Now, just like Elizabeth, witnesses saw Catherine with a man 15 minutes before she was found dead. Witnesses thought they were just seeing a couple getting frisky in the streets and decided to turn a blind eye. You know, seems to me a lot less prostitutes would have been murdered if people would have been a bit less British.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, sir.
Catherine was found with her throat slit and her face mutilated, but the killer also made off with a uterus and left kidney. You know, maybe everyone's been looking at this wrong. Maybe someone just read too much Mary Shelley and was trying to make their own Frankenstein monster. Jackenstein? Rippenstein?
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
Once again, the killer got away. Baffling, considering the amount of police nearby, and there were 3 plainclothes detectives doing searches in the area. What was their search procedure? Oi! You been out murdering? No. Fair enough, you're free to go. The police also found the phrase, "The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing," written on the wall near Catherine's body. Now, for fear of making the anti-Semitism in the area worse than it already was, they washed it away and ignored it as evidence. And there were some that speculated that it had been there for a while anyway. The men that will not be blamed for nothing. Is that a negative of some kind? Double? Triple?
We don't need no education.
Yes, you do. You've just used a double negative.
After the double murder, a letter was made public that had been sent to a London news agency, supposedly from the killer, and it was signed Jack the Ripper, and it caught on with the press immediately. which actually makes a lot of sense when you find out that it was a hoax written by a journalist. I mean, just think, if they'd have been a bit worse at their job, I might be talking about the history of Jerry the Ripper right now.
That's pain. Oh, hurt. There's hurt and pain.
After the initial letter was made public, many other hoax letters came in, including the famous one that was addressed from hell. Wait, so it came from Wales? Once again, the murders seemed to stop, and for all of October things were quiet. But then, on November 9th, the body of Mary Kelly was found in a room off Dorset Street, practically skinned to the bone. To the bone? Like, there's no skin in the... I'll just need a minute. Police believe this was the last of the Ripper murders. Now, there were a handful of other murders that were in the Ripper file, but people were always at odds as to whether or not they fit the profile. Profile? What profile? Like, he murders, right, then he murders and he takes a bit, then he murders in a hurry, and then he murders and he takes another bit, and then he skins someone? That sounds like a different killer altogether, that last one. Like, it was indoors, whereas the rest was outdoors, right? And then there's the whole skin thing, right? I don't think it was Jack the Ripper. I think it was Jeff the Skinner. I don't think that's going to catch on. So the Ripper murders went unsolved and became known throughout the world, becoming a story focus for movies, TV shows, books, video games, comic books. You know, one of my favourites is actually, it's a video game where Sherlock Holmes takes on Jack the Ripper. Please. You know, Holmes was far too busy solving cases about dogs and snakes to be bothered with a few murders of prostitutes. What? What's that? What do you mean he's not real? Sherlock Holmes, the world's greatest detective mind, not real. Okay. Suppose you're going to try to tell me that Detective Aberline, as portrayed by Johnny Depp in the movie From Hell, didn't actually fake Mary Kelly's death so she could live on the coast somewhere? Come on, if you're going to lie, at least try to make it convincing. You're going to try telling me that Johnny Depp's not British next.
Me, I'm dishonest. And a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest. Honestly.
Join us next time as we explore the history of pie. The food. Not the number that goes on forever. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and a share. Also, let me know what sort of history topics you'd like to see me talk about in future episodes in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified when more brief history of the past videos go up. Thanks, and I'll see you all in the future. Police believe this was the last of the Ripper murders. Now, there were a handful of other murders that were in the Ripper file, but people were always as their thing with the stuff. They were always there. Always with them, the people.